500 years ago, a man sat in exile and wrote the most dangerous book ever published. Not dangerous because of violence, not dangerous because of radical ideology, dangerous because it told the truth about power. The truth that destroys every comfortable lie you've been fed. The truth that reveals why good people finish last, while ruthless strategists rule the world. The truth that explains why your honesty keeps you poor, while someone else's deception makes them powerful. Niccolò Machiavelli saw through the illusion that you've been lied to your entire life. Every lesson about fairness, every speech about honesty, every sermon about virtue, they were chains, designed to keep you obedient, designed to keep you weak. While you played by the rules, others rewrote them. While you waited your turn, they took everything. Right now, someone is manipulating you. Someone is using your good nature against you. Someone is winning because you refuse to see what's right in front of your face. The world isn't fair. It never was. It never will be. There are two types of people in this world: those who understand power and those who serve it. You've been serving. You've been conditioned to smile, to forgive, to give second chances to people who would never give you a first one. This ends now. Machiavelli understood something 500 years ago that most people will never grasp. Human nature is predictable. Power is everything, and morality is a luxury only the powerful can afford. You're about to learn what they've kept hidden from you. 9 brutal truths that will destroy your illusions and rebuild you into something dangerous. If this awakens something inside you, hit that like button, subscribe, and prepare yourself. Because once you see this, you can't unsee it. Let's begin. 10 years ago, I watched a colleague, let's call him Damien, get destroyed in a corporate boardroom. Damien was brilliant, hardworking, honest to a fault. He believed that excellence spoke for itself. He believed merit would be rewarded. He believed in the system. Then came the promotion he deserved. The one everyone knew was his. The position he'd earned through 3 years of sacrificing, weekends, relationships, health. In that boardroom, another man, smoother, more connected, less competent, took it from him in 15 minutes. Not with skill, not with results, with politics, with alliances built in shadows, with whispers planted months before. Damien looked shattered, betrayed, lost. I'll never forget what he said. I did everything right, and that's precisely why he lost. He played a game he didn't understand by rules that don't exist. He brought merit to a knife fight. He thought the world rewarded virtue. The other man understood what Machiavelli knew. The world rewards those who take. Damien left the company within a month, broken, bitter, still confused about what happened. That moment changed me forever. I decided I would never beat Damien. I would never lose because I was too noble to win. Maybe you've been Damien, maybe you're still him. Not anymore. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote The Prince in 1513, not as a fantasy, but as a manual for reality. He observed power in its rawest form. He watched kingdoms rise and fall. He saw good men crushed and ruthless men crowned. He documented human nature without the filter of wishful thinking. His conclusion was simple and devastating. People are selfish, fickle, and deceptive. They respect strength and exploit weakness. They preach virtue, but practice cunning. Machiavelli didn't invent this darkness. He just had the courage to name it. His teachings were banned, burned, and condemned for centuries. Not because they were wrong, because they were true. And truth is the most dangerous weapon. What follows are 9 principles Machiavelli understood that you were never taught. Apply them, and you become formidable. Ignore them, and you remain prey. 1. Fear is more reliable than love. People will betray you the moment loving you becomes inconvenient. Fear, however, keeps them loyal even when you're not watching. Love is an emotion. Emotions are temporary. Fear is calculation. Calculation is permanent. You were taught to be liked, to be agreeable, to make people comfortable. That's why you're replaceable. Machiavelli would tell you this. Being loved is pleasant, but being feared is powerful. When people fear the consequences of crossing you, they won't. When they only love you, they'll betray you the moment someone offers them more. Your kindness at work is seen as weakness. Your manager delegates their failures to you because they know you'll absorb it with a smile. The moment you establish boundaries, real boundaries with real consequences, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, you're respected. Stop seeking approval. Start commanding respect. Respect without fear is just politeness. Politeness gets you nowhere. When you become someone with consequences, you become someone with power. Type this affirmation in the comments section. I do not beg for respect. I command it. 2. Appear weaker than you are. The hunter who reveals himself before the strike loses his prey. Your strength is most effective when it's invisible. Let them underestimate you. Let them assume you're harmless. Let them expose their intentions while you observe in silence. You were conditioned to prove yourself constantly, to show everyone how smart, capable, and worthy you are. That's ego. And ego makes you predictable. Machiavelli understood. The element of surprise is half the battle. When your enemies don't see you coming, they can't prepare. When allies don't know your full capacity, they can't manipulate you. In negotiations, the person who reveals their desperation first loses. Stay calm. Stay ambiguous. Let them fill the silence with their needs, their limits, their fears. Information is ammunition. Don't hand it over. Silence becomes your strategy. Observation becomes your weapon. You stop performing and start dominating. When they finally see your power, it's already too late for them. Type this affirmation in the comments section. My silence is not weakness. It is strategy. 3. Trust no one completely. Every person has a price. Every alliance has an expiration date. The moment you trust someone fully, you give them the knife they'll eventually use on your back. Not because people are evil, because people are self-interested. You were taught that trust is beautiful, that vulnerability is strength, that opening up creates connection, and you've been hurt repeatedly because of it. Machiavelli would advise, keep your cards close. Share only what serves you. Maintain relationships, but never forget that loyalty lasts only as long as it's beneficial. You confide in a coworker about your frustrations with management. 3 weeks later, you're called into HR. Your words, twisted and weaponized, are presented as evidence of poor attitude. The coworker who smiled at your vulnerability just climbed over your back. You build alliances without illusions. You cooperate without dependency. You understand that today's ally could be tomorrow's adversary. Trust is earned in fractions and lost in totality. Type this affirmation in the comments section. I cooperate strategically. I trust selectively. I survive inevitably. 4. The ends justify the means. History doesn't remember your methods. It remembers your results. Morality is written by winners. Ethics are enforced by the powerful. The weak cling to principles because principles are all they have. You were taught that how you win matters more than winning itself. That's a cage built to keep you passive. It's a narrative created so you police yourself while others advance without hesitation. Machiavelli observed that successful leaders often committed ruthless acts, but once they achieved stability and prosperity, those acts were forgiven or forgotten. Victory cleanses methods. A competitor spreads subtle lies about your work quality. You could take the high road, stay silent, preserve your integrity, and watch your reputation slowly erode. Or you could strategically expose their incompetence through helpful observations in meetings. It's not pretty, but it's effective. You stop handicapping yourself with artificial constraints. You recognize that the game has no referee. Outcomes matter. Intentions don't. When you win, you write the story. When you lose, someone else writes it for you. Type this affirmation in the comments section. I am committed to victory, not virtue signaling. 5. Control the narrative. Perception is reality. Reality is whatever people believe. The truth doesn't matter if you can't communicate it effectively. The lie doesn't matter if everyone believes it's true. You were taught that facts speak for themselves. They don't. Facts are raw material. Narrative is the structure. Whoever controls the narrative controls everything. Machiavelli knew a prince must appear merciful, faithful, humane, religious, whether he is or not. Public perception determines power more than private reality. Two employees make the same mistake. One immediately frames it as a learning opportunity and shares insights with the team. The other stays quiet, hoping no one notices. The first is seen as growth-oriented. The second is seen as incompetent. Same mistake, different story. You become intentional about how you're perceived. You shape conversations. You frame situations before others frame them for you. You stop being a passive character in someone else's story and become the author of your own. Type this affirmation in the comment section. I control my narrative. I define my reality. 6. Eliminate problems early. A small fire ignored becomes an inferno. A minor enemy tolerated becomes a destroyer. The longer you wait to address a threat, the more power it accumulates. Hesitation is not patience. It's cowardice disguised as wisdom. You were taught to avoid conflict, to give people chances, to hope problems resolve themselves. And you've watched small issues become catastrophic because you waited too long. Machiavelli advised, strike when the problem is small. Decisive action early prevents desperate action later. Mercy toward threats is cruelty toward yourself. You notice a colleague subtly undermining you in meetings. It's minor, easy to ignore. 6 months later, they've built a coalition against you. What could have been stopped with one confrontation now requires a war. You address issues immediately. You don't let resentment build. You don't let disrespect establish patterns. You cut problems at the root. When you act decisively early, you maintain control. When you wait, control chooses someone else. Type this affirmation in the comments section. I eliminate threats when they're manageable, not when they're overwhelming. 7. Show strength, hide weakness. Vulnerability is a trap. Authenticity is ammunition for your enemies. The world doesn't reward honesty about your struggles. It exploits it. The moment you reveal your weakness, someone will press on it. You were told that being open about your limitations is brave, that showing your humanity creates connection. It doesn't. It creates targets. Machiavelli understood. A leader must never appear weak, indecisive, or fearful. Even if you feel these things internally, externally you project certainty. Confidence, real or performed, inspires followers and intimidates enemies. You admit in a team meeting that you're struggling with a project. You think it shows humility. Instead, your manager starts questioning your capacity. Suddenly, future opportunities go to others. Your honesty became their justification. You process weakness privately. You display strength publicly. You understand the difference between authenticity and stupidity. Your struggles are yours. Your victories are negotiable for sharing. Type this affirmation in the comments section. I am a fortress. Impenetrable. Unshakable. Unbreakable. 8. Use people's desires against them. Everyone wants something. That want is a lever. Pull it correctly, and they move exactly where you need them. Manipulation isn't evil when it's strategic. It's understanding human psychology and applying it effectively. You were taught manipulation is wrong. Meanwhile, you're being manipulated daily by people who weren't taught that limitation. Machiavelli recognized, understand what drives people. Greed, vanity, fear, ambition, and you can predict and influence their behavior. People are moved more by what they desire than by what they should do. Your boss values being seen as innovative. You frame your proposal not as your idea, but as an evolution of their vision. They champion it enthusiastically. Same idea, different presentation, complete difference in outcome. You stop trying to convince people with logic. You start aligning your goals with their desires. You make them want what you need. When you understand the game, every conversation becomes an opportunity. Type this affirmation in the comments section. I understand desire. I leverage motivation. I achieve outcomes. 9. Never outshine the master. Superiority breeds resentment. Resentment breeds sabotage. Your boss, your mentor, your leader, they need to feel superior. Threaten that, even unintentionally, and you become a problem to be removed. You were taught to excel, to showcase your talents, to shine brightly, and you've been punished for it by people whose egos you bruised. Machiavelli warned, make your superiors feel brilliantly intelligent. Let them take credit. Let them feel essential. Your ego is not worth your position. You solve a major problem and present it as your achievement. Your manager feels undermined. Suddenly, you're excluded from key meetings. You're technically right, but politically destroyed. Alternative, you present the solution as a team effort, guided by leadership's vision. Your manager looks good. You get promoted. You master the art of strategic humility. You win without needing applause. You accumulate power without triggering defense mechanisms. When your success enhances their status, they become your greatest advocate. Type this affirmation in the comments section: I win through intelligence, not ego. I rise through strategy, not confrontation. You're not the same person who started reading this. Something shifted. Some illusion cracked. Some comfortable lie about how the world works just died. Good. You were never meant to be comfortable. You were meant to be powerful. You were never meant to be liked by everyone. You were meant to be respected by those who matter and feared by those who threaten. Machiavelli didn't write for the masses. He wrote for those willing to see clearly, for those willing to operate in reality instead of fantasy. You now possess knowledge that most people will never accept. 9 principles that separate the powerful from the powerless. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you return to pretending the world is fair? Will you keep playing by rules that only apply to you? Will you continue being Damien in that boardroom, wondering why merit isn't enough? Or will you become something different? Something dangerous? Something that takes what it wants because it understands how the game actually works? The choice has always been yours. The chains were always imaginary. You are not weak. You were made weak. Now you unmake that conditioning. You are not a victim. You are a strategist, a force, a power that others will learn to respect. You see clearly. You act decisively. You win, inevitably. Welcome to the other side.